ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ
ॐ
अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य
अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य
ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया
ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन
तस्मै
तस्मै
श्रीगुरुवे
श्रीगुरवे
नमः।
नमः।
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं
स्थापितं
येन
येन
भूतले
भूतले
स्वयं
स्वयं
रूपः
रूपः
कदा
कदा
मह्यं
मह्यं
ददाति
ददाति
स्वपदान्तिकम्।
स्वपदान्तिकम्।
वन्देऽहं
वन्देऽहं
श्रीगुरोः
श्रीगुरोः
श्रीयुतपदकमलं
श्रीयुतपदकमलं
श्रीगुरुन्
श्रीगुरुं
वैष्णवांश्च
वैष्णवांश्च
श्रीरूपं
श्रीरूपं
साग्रजातं
साग्रजातं
सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं
रघुनाथान्वितं
तं
तं
सजीवम्
सजीवं
साद्वैतं
साद्वैतं
सावधूतं
सावधूतं
परिजनसहितं
परिजनसहितं
कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम्
कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं
श्रीराधा
श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां
कृष्णपादान् सहगण
सहगणललिता
ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च।
श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च।
हे
हे
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
करुणा
करुणा
सिन्धो
सिन्धु
दीनबन्धो
दीनबन्धो
जगत्पते
जगत्पते
गोपेश
गोपेश
गोपिकान्त
गोपिकान्त
राधाकान्त
राधाकान्त
नमोस्तुते।
नमोऽस्तुते।
तप्त
तप्त
काञ्चन
काञ्चन
गौराङ्गी
गौराङ्गी
राधे
राधे
वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वृषभानुसुते
वृषभानुसुते
देवी
देवी
प्रणमामि
प्रणमामि
हरिप्रिये।
हरिप्रिये।
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
कल्पतरुभ्यश्च
कृपा
कृपा
सिन्धुभ्य एव च
सिन्धुभ्य एव च
पतितानां
पतितानां
पावनेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमो
नमो
नमः।
नमः।
नमः
नमः
ॐ
ॐ
विष्णुपादाय
विष्णुपादाय
कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय
कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय
भूतले
भूतले
श्रीमते
श्रीमते
भक्तिवेदान्त
भक्तिवेदान्त
स्वामिनिति
स्वामिनिति
नामिने।
नामिने। नमस्ते
नमस्ते
सारस्वते
सरस्वते
देवे
देवे गौरवाणी
गौरवाणी
प्रचारिणे
प्रचारिणे
निर्विशेष
निर्विशेष शून्यवादी
शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे।
पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे।
जय
जय
श्री
श्री
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
चैतन्य
चैतन्य
प्रभु
प्रभु
नित्यानंद
नित्यानंद
श्री
श्री
अद्वैत
अद्वैत
गदाधर
गदाधर श्रीवास
श्रीवासादि
आदि
गौर
गौर
भक्त
भक्त
वृंद।
वृंद।
हरे
हरे
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
हरे
हरे
कृष्ण
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 कृष्ण कृष्ण
कृष्ण
हरे
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 राम
राम
हरे
हरे
राम
राम राम
राम
राम
राम
हरे
हरे
हरे।
हरे।
श्री कृष्ण भगवान की जय।
जय।
श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So let me start sharing the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, reading from 8th chapter. Okay. Is the screen?
Oh.
Okay. So Hare Krishna and welcome to our weekly Bhagavad Gita study. So we are reading from Adhyay or chapter 8 of Bhagavad Gita. So which is called Attaining the Supreme or Akshara Brahma Yoga in Sanskrit, where Krishna is answering several questions of Arjuna, and then he's answering about what is the destination of person who lives in body in different consciousness. So basically, Arjuna asks him, the last question he asks is Prayana Kale cha katham neyosi niyata atmabhi, that how can one think of you at the time of leaving this body, at the time of Prayana Kala. And then Krishna starts giving he first answers all other questions. What is Adibhuta, Adidaiva, Adhyatma, Adiyajna, and what is karma? So he gives the definition of karma also in the beginning of this chapter. The definition of karma he gives is any activity that we perform that creates another material body for us is called karma. So by karma, we are creating another material body for us in the future. And then in several verses, last time we saw that he is explaining about who gets. So ananya cheta satam tam yomam smrati nityasha tasyaham sulabha partha nityayuktasya yogina. So for here he gives one very positive thing, that for somebody who is always thinking of me, to him I am very easy to obtain. To him, to return back home, back to Godhead in the spiritual world is very easy. Tasya aham sulabha. Sulabha means very easy. And then he gives that this material world, the person who attains Krishna, he doesn't have to come back to this material world, which is the place of miseries. Dukkha layam ashashvatam. So, mam upetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam na apnuvanti mahatmana sansiddhim paramam gatah. So mam upetya, whoever comes to me, that he doesn't have to take punarjanma again in this material world, which is place of miseries, dukkha alaya, and ashashvatam, it is also temporary. So even if we sometimes think that we get some happiness, everything here is temporary. And na apnuvanti mahatmana, so those people are called mahatma. So they don't have to come back again in this material world, because they samsiddhim paramamgata, they have attained the highest success. Siddhi means success. Samsiddhim paramamgata, because they have returned back to the spiritual world. They have attained me, the highest perfection. And then the previous discussion what we read is Abrahma Bhuvana Loka. So the definition of temporary sometimes is relative, right? So because something that is of long duration, we may think is eternal from our perspective. But Krishna is saying that everything in this material world is temporary. And the person who is in this material world, it doesn't matter he is in the Brahmaloka or Swargaloka or Bhuloka or one of the hellish planets or Patala Loka. So according to Vedic scriptures, this universe is made up of 14 different planetary systems. And the topmost is called Brahmaloka or Satyaloka. And then the middle one, where we human beings live, that is called Bhuloka. And below us there are 7, and above us there are 6 planetary systems. The lower planetary systems are called as Vital, they are the hellish planetary systems. And then the upper are called heavenly. So the life duration on upper planets and other places is higher than us. So, but Krishna says that Brahma Bhuvana Loka, wherever you take birth, from Brahma Loka or Bhuloka or Patal, anywhere, Punaravartino Arjuna, you have to go through this cycle of birth and death. You have to come back again and again and again and take birth in this material world in different yonis, in different forms of life. You may get a birth of Devata, you may get birth of a human being, you may get birth of a dog or cat or tree or fish. It doesn't matter, but you have to come back again and again. But Mam Upetya, one who returns to my spiritual abode, O Kaunteya, Punarjanma na vidyate. He doesn't have to take birth again in this material world, and he doesn't have to come to this place of miseries. That's what he called in the previous verse as Dukkhalayam. So this is what we heard, and so the today's verse, what we are seeing, gives us a little bit more perspective of what is Brahma Loka, what is the duration of life there, and even though it may seem a long duration, but it is still temporary. So that's what we will learn today in this verse. So let's continue. Hare Krishna, Kiran Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Sunil Prabhu. Good to see you back again.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Radhā-Rañjana Das Prabhu, Sarya Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
So let's recite this verse. सहस्रयुग पर्यंतम
सहस्रयुग पर्यंतम
सहस्रयुग पर्यंतम
सहस्रयुग पर्यंतम
अहर्यद् ब्रह्मणो विदुः
अहर्यद् ब्रह्मणो विदुः
अहर्यद् ब्रह्मणो विदुः
अहर्यद् ब्रह्मणो विदुः
रात्रिं युग सहस्रांताम्
रात्रिं युग सहस्रान्ताम्
रात्रिं युग सहस्रांताम्
रात्रिं युग सहस्रान्ताम्
तेहो रात्रविदो जनाः
तेहो रात्रविदो जनाः
तेहो रात्रविदो जनाः
तेहो रात्रविदो जनाः
सहस्रयुग पर्यन्तम्
सहस्रयुग पर्यंतम
अहर्यद् ब्रह्मणो विदुः
अहर्यद् ब्रह्मणो विदुः
रात्रिं युग सहस्रांताम्
रात्रिं युग सहस्रान्ताम्
तेहो रात्रविदो जनाः
तेहो रात्रविदो जनाः
We'll take a couple of recitations about Chandrakant Prabhu. Want to lead?
Me?
Yeah.
सहस्रयुग पर्यंतम अहर्यद् ब्रह्मणो विदुः रात्रिं युग सहस्रान्ताम्
रात्रिं युग सहस्रांताम्
तेहो रात्रविदो जनाः
तेहो रात्रविदो जनाः मधु प्रभु
सहस्रयुग पर्यंतम
सहस्रयुग पर्यंतम
अहर्यद् ब्रह्मणो विदुः
अहर्यद् ब्रह्मणो विदुः
रात्रिं युग सहस्रांतम
रात्रिं युग सहस्रान्ताम्
तेहो रात्रविदो जनः
तेहो रात्रविदो जनाः.
Thank you, Prabhu. So let's do word for word translation or synonyms. Sahasra means 1000. Yuga means millenniums. Paryantam means including. Aha means day. Yat means that which. Brahman means of Brahma. Vidu means they know. Ratrim means night. Yuga means millenniums. Sahasra Antam means similarly ending after 1000. Te means they. Ahoratra is a sandhi of ahar and ratra. Aharatra, day and night. Vidaha means who understand. Janah means people. Translation. By human calculation, 1000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day. And such also is the duration of his night. So I think long time back we have learned about this duration, time calculation. So here Krishna is explaining that earlier verse we read that Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartino arjuna mamopetya tu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. That even though somebody gets to Brahma Loka or other Swarga Loka or Bhuloka or Patal Loka, he has to take birth and again. He has to come back in this material universe. But one who goes to the spiritual planet, Mamopetya, then Punarjanma na vidyate. So now he is giving more description about Brahma's lifespan. So even though it is very long duration, and we'll read that in the purport a little bit, try to understand what Sahasra Yuga means. But it is still temporary. And it is actually just a breath of Mahavishnu or Karanodakshai Vishnu. So here he is saying that by human calculation, 1000 ages. So age or yuga taken together, 1000 yugas, Divya yugas taken together is one day of Brahma. That is 12 hours of Brahma. And Similarly, the same 1000 year of yugas by human calculation is also his night. So that's the description he is giving about Brahma's day and night. So let's read the purport and we'll try to get in a little bit deeper. So Sunil Prabhu, you want to read the purport?
The duration of the material universe is limited. It is manifested in cycle of kalpas. A kalpa is a day of Brahma, and one day of Brahma consists of 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas or ages: Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali. The cycle of Satya is characterized by virtue, wisdom, and religion, there being practically no ignorance and vice. And the yuga lasts almost 17,28,000 years. In the Treta Yuga, vice is introduced, and this yuga lasts 12,96,000 years. In the Dwapar Yuga, there is an even greater decline in virtue and religion, vice increasing, and this yuga lasts 8,64,000 years. And finally, in Kali Yuga, the Yuga we have now been experiencing over the past 5,000 years, there is an abundance of strife, ignorance, irreligion, and vice, true virtue being practically non-existent, and this yuga lasts 4,32,000 years. In Kali Yuga, vice increases to such a point that at the termination of the yuga, the Supreme Lord himself appears as the Kalki avatar, vanquishes the demons, saves his devotees, and commences another Satya Yuga. Then the process is set rolling again. These four yugas, these 4 yugas rotating 1,000 times comprise one day of Brahma, and the same number comprise one night. Brahma lives 100 of such years and then dies. These 100 years by earth calculation total to 311 trillion and 40 billion earth years. By these calculations, the life of Brahma seems fantastic and interminable. But from the viewpoint of eternity, it is as brief as lightning flash. In the causal ocean, there are innumerable Brahmas rising and disappearing like bubbles in the Atlantic. Brahma and his creations are all part of the material universe, and therefore they are in constant flux. In the material universe, not even Brahma is free from the process of birth, old age, disease, and death. Brahma, however, is directly engaged in the service of Supreme Lord in the management of the universe. Therefore, he at once attains liberation. Elevated sannyasis are promoted to Brahma's particular planet, Brahmalok, which is the highest planet in the material universe and which survives all the heavenly planets in the upper strata of the planetary system. But in due course, Brahma and all the inhabitants of Brahmalok are subject to death according to the law of material nature.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So here we get a little bit perspective of what is Brahma's life. So Brahmaji, who is the engineer of this universe, or we also call him creator. So he's the secondary creator. So his life of duration is given here. The duration of the material universe is limited. everything in this material world, as we saw in the last verses, it is ashashvatam or temporary or limited. But his life span given here is, so the day of Brahma is called Kalpa. Kalpa is, if you have paid attention when we are doing any puja, any Vedic ritual at our home, and when the priest comes, and then when he offers prayers, so we do a sankalpa. So sankalpa is basically, it declares who is performing the puja, where it is being performed, and when it is being performed. So for the timeline perspective, so he will always ask, what is your gotra? And then he will say that, oh, this person is performing this puja. Then where is it being performed? So in this place, Mumbai Nagare, it is placed. Mumbai Nagare where? Mumbai Nagare, Bharat Khande, Jambu Dvipe. So he will place the whole cosmic placement of that particular location in this, in perspective of this whole universe. So we are living on the Bharat Khanda. Then in this Jambu Dvipa, this is the whole planetary system. And then based on that perspective, and from the timeline perspective, he will give the date on this which date. So that date is based on the universal calendar. So where he says Varaha Kalpe, so in the current Kalpa of Brahmaji, the day of Brahmaji, our Brahmaji is called Varaha Kalpa. And he is he is in his, from his calculation perspective, in his 52nd year. Because he lives according to his timeline for 100 years. But for his timeline, his 1 day or kalpa, from, if we compare to the human cycle perspective or earthly year perspective, it is called Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Ahar. Ahar means day of Brahma. So it is 1000 yugas. So yuga is comprised, one Divya Yuga comprises 4 yuga: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So the duration of Kali Yuga is given as 432,000 years. Dwapar is 2 times of Kali Yuga. So that is 2 times. So that is 864,000. Treta is 3 times. So Treta is 3 times of Kali Yuga. So that is the 3 times of 432,000. So that is 12,96,000. And Kreta, Satya Yuga is also called Kreta or quadruple. So that is 4 times of Kali Yuga. So that is 17,28,000. And this all together, which becomes actually, if you add those, which becomes 10 times of Kali Yuga. So that is 4.32 billion years, or sorry, 4.32 million years. So 43,20,000 years. So that many years is the one Divya Yuga, and times 1000. So times 1000 is 4.32 billion years. So that is the duration of Brahma's 1 day. And same is also his night. So multiplied by 2, so 8.64 billion is his day and night complies together. And of such days, 30 days is his month, and of such 30 days, 12 months of those 30 days is his year, and he lives for 100 of his years. So that is the duration of, so that becomes, I think the calculation here is roughly given is 311 trillion 40 billion years of, from human calculation perspective. So the purpose of giving this is, even though Brahma's life is such a long, it seems so long, but it is also temporary. And Prabhupada mentions here, but from the viewpoint of the eternity, even this life is brief as lightning flash. And even that Brahma is bound by karmic reactions. So every living entity in this universe is bound by karmic reactions, and he is getting different types of, different yonis of birth again and again in this material universe. So it doesn't matter if we get to the Brahma Loka or Patala Loka or Bhuloka or Swarga Loka. It's just repetition of birth and death. That's what we read in the previous verse. Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. Punaravartina is goes and comes back, goes and comes back. So there are 4 different types of pralaya. Pralaya means vanishings that are given. Pralaya, so of this universe. So those are, I think last time we read, one is called Nitya Pralaya, and those are actually, I had opened that verse here. So in the 12th canto, Bharavaskanda, 7th chapter, 17th verse, all these are given. Naimittika Prakritiko, Nitya Atyantiko Laya. Laya means vanishing, Pralaya, or what do you call, annihilation. Samstheti kavibi proktas chaturdhasya swabhavata. They are naturally happening. So what are these? So first is, that is Nitya. Nitya is occurring regularly, continuous. So Nitya Pralaya is basically every living entity is getting certain type of body and dying again, getting body and dying again. So at the time of death, actually we are dying every day. Every day we are, even from medical perspective, changing this body. So that death, regular death, is called Nitya Pralaya, or continuous, that is Pralaya. That is happening, annihilation is happening continuously. Then the second one is called Naimittika Pralaya. Naimittika Pralaya is at the end of Brahma's one day. So we just learned in this Bhagavad Gita verse, Sahasra Yuga is his day. So after every day, when Brahma goes to sleep, everything becomes dormant and everything is unmanifested. So that Pralaya, or that annihilation, is called Naimittika, or the occasional in English translation. And then the third one beyond that is Prakritika. So Prakritika Pralaya is when Brahma finishes his life of 100 years. At that time, whole universe is vanquished. The whole universe is annihilated, and everything goes until the new universe is, they get into new universe. So that is called Prakriti. Prakriti is the material nature. So all the elements of this material nature are destroyed. Everything in this material universe is, the universe is completely destroyed, because Brahma's life is same as the universe's life is same as Brahma's life. So the whole universe is vanished, and that is called Prakritika Pralaya. And Atyantika Pralaya, that is the ultimate annihilation of a living entity, is when he gets completely liberated from material entanglement. So he gives up both the material gross body and the subtle body. Our gross body is made up of 5 Panchamahabhuta: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, and Akash. So this is gross body, and then the subtle or Sukshma Sharir, subtle body, is made up of 3 subtle elements. Those are material, that is mind, intelligence, and false ego. Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara. So as long as we are in this material world, we are only changing the gross body. The subtle body carries us from one gross body to another gross body. And based on the consciousness what we have developed, and the desires we have, and the karma bandhan what we have created, the bindings of karma what we have created, we have acted piously or some impiously, based on that we get next body. Karmana daiva netrena jantur deha upapattaye. By karma and under the supervision of God, daiva netrena, jantu, a living entity, he gets another body. Sriya pravishta udaram pumsa retakanashriya. And then he is put into the womb of a female body by pumsa retakanashriya, by semen particle of a male. Then that body can be a dog body, a cat body, a fish body, or a human body, or a devata body, or a asur body, or siddha, or charana. There are different types of bodies. So but when one gives up, when one becomes eligible for liberation, and then he gives up that subtle sukshma body also, sukshma sharir also, manabuddhi ahankar. That time he attains the spiritual kingdom where we actually originally belong. So that is called Atyantika Pralaya. That is the ultimate annihilation. Then one doesn't have to come back again in this material world. So these are different pralayas, and all the universes are coming from Mahavishnu, who is lying in Yoga Nidra in the Karana Ocean, causal ocean, or Vaitarani. From his breathing, these different bubbles are coming, and that is every universe. And that life of Brahma, or life of one universe, is just one breath of that Mahavishnu. And this is all given in various different scriptures, in Brahma Samhita or in Bhagavatam. In multiple places it is given, the whole creation, and in other Vedic literatures. So, but even though Brahma's life seems long, but even he is not free from the process of birth, death, old age, and disease. All living entities are bound by the four basic problems, that is Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Every living entity is bound by those four problems. So, but Brahma, he is directly engaged in Krishna's service, because he is guided directly by Krishna on how to create. He is given all the elements to create, and he is also given training or intelligence to create, and that's how he is creating whole this thing, because he is engaged in direct creation. At the end of his life, he is liberated and he goes to the spiritual world. And every living entity who attained the Brahma Loka eventually gets liberated at the end of Brahma's life. So this is overall the gist of today's verse, to give a description of how long the duration of Brahma is. When in the previous verse, Lord Krishna has described Abrahma Bhuvana Loka, wherever you go, even from Brahma Loka to Patal Loka or in between, Punaravartino Arjuna, you are coming back again and again. And then to give a perspective of Brahma's life, is giving Sahasra Yoga Paryantam Ahara Yad Brahmano Vidu. And Ratri is also Yuga Sahasrantam Te Ahoratra Vidojana, the people who understand this timeline of Brahma like this. So, any thoughts, Prabhuji is here? Hare Krishna, Rajesh Prabhu.
आपण याच्यावरती सोनूने एक एक्सेल शीट बनवलं होतं, तेव्हा बोललो होतो तिथं त्याला.
Yes.
त्यामुळे हे आपलं त्यावेळेस डिस्कशन झालेलं आहे की कलियुग, त्रेतायुग, द्वापार युग, इन दॅट मल्टिपल, आणि एक दिवस त्यांचा, हे सगळं त्यावेळेस एक्सेल शीट मुळे त्यावेळेस ते डिस्कशन झालेलं.
बरोबर. बऱ्याच दिवसांपूर्वी आपण काही कुठल्या कॉन्टेक्स्ट मध्ये, पण
अगदी खूप सुरुवातीला
हे डिस्कस केलंय.
एक्सेल शीट आहे आपल्या ग्रुपच्या डॉक्युमेंटच्या फोल्डर मध्ये.
हो का? ओके.
पण जेव्हा आपण म्हणतो की when Brahma's one life is over, entire universal will get vanished. So it includes all 14 planetary system, right?
Correct.
These are a part of universe, right?
Yes.
All 14. Okay. Everything will get vanished.
Everything.
And you mentioned one thing, that whatever the living entity at the end of that day also will get moksha again. Means nothing will be there at the end of that.
Not everyone. One who are on the Brahma Loka, one who have attained Brahma Loka and who are serving the Lord's order directly.
Right. But just very hypothetical, but let's say at the end of that, everything is getting destroyed, right? Everything will get vanished. So it means that whoever is living entity, whether they are getting moksha or not getting moksha, also should not be there then in that case.
They get in dormant and they come back in another universe again.
Another universe.
Yeah, okay. Material universe. They don't get back. They just become dormant at that for a certain period, long period, and then they come back again and they start whatever they had left.
New universe formed.
Yes.
Okay.
So the balance, karma balance and desires, what they have, they come back again in the new universe and start over again
Okay.
with the same thing
Let's see.
where they had left off.
Yeah. Right. But very nice explanation, I will say, for the Ashashvatam, right? Where we talking that it's a relative term. Though it sounds like a permanent, but it's not a permanent.
Ashashvatam, yes.
Yeah.
Everything here in this material world is Ashashvata. Shashvata means eternal. Ashashvata is temporary.
Yeah. In short, nothing is eternal.
In this material world, nothing is eternal. In
Nothing
spiritual
is
world,
eternal.
everything is
Only the
eternal.
Different. They have different timelines, but nothing is eternal.
Yep.
Yeah. A very good explanation. Yeah.
So, any other thoughts, Prabhuji, or we can continue to the next verse then?
मागे असं आय थिंक आपल्या डिस्कशन मध्ये असं आलं होतं ना की ब्रह्माचा एक दिवस म्हणजे एक युग असं हे आहे की फॉर एक्झाम्पल पृथ्वीवर त्यावेळी जस्ट जीवाची सुरुवात झाली आणि बाय द टाइम इट कम्प्लिटेड वन सर्कल डायनोसॉर तयार होऊन डायनोसॉर हे पण झाले, डिस्ट्रॉय झाले. लाईक दॅट मीन्स वन डे पृथ्वी सूर्याभोवती आणि सूर्य त्या गॅलेक्सीच्या सेंटर भोवती रोटेट होतं. तर ती सगळी गॅलेक्सी जी आहे ती पूर्ण एक सर्कल कम्प्लीट करून म्हणजे त्या गॅलेक्सीमध्ये वापस येईपर्यंत एवढे स्थित्यंतर पृथ्वीवर होतात. असं आहे म्हणजे ते असं मागे पण आपल्या ह्याच्यात आलं होतं मला वाटतं चर्चेत.
फार सुरुवातीला आय थिंक जस्ट like Sunil Prabhu said, we discussed this topic in the very beginning, the timeline, and the time actually in the तिसरा स्कंद जो आहे त्यातला 11वा जो अध्याय आहे त्यात पूर्ण टाइमलाईन वरच दिलाय आणि त्यात अगदी शॉर्टेस्ट ड्युरेशन ऑफ मेजर टू द लॉंगेस्ट ड्युरेशन दॅट इज द अल्टिमेट एंड ऑफ युनिवर्स हे सगळी टाइमलाईन दिली आहे त्यात. The shortest duration of measure is basically when sun moves the distance of one atom. So that is called Anu, then Trasarenu, and then the calculation is 3 hexatoms is called Trasarenu, and then after that it is Truti. So Truti is something, I think 1/300,000 of second or something like that. From calculation, I don't remember exact calculation. And then after Truti, 100 of Trutis is become 1 danda. Danda, then Nimesha, lava. After 3 dandas is 1 lava. So all these calculations are given. So these are from the smallest unit of time, and then the biggest unit starts that our the different planetary systems. So our 1 month is 1 day at the Pitraloka. So आपला एक शुक्ल पक्ष आणि कृष्ण पक्ष आपल्या एका महिन्यात वैदिक कॅलेंडर प्रमाणे आपले महिना शुक्ल पक्ष आणि 2 पंधरवडे असतात. सो पितृ प्लॅनेट जे आहेत तर तिथे आपला एक महिना म्हणजे त्यांचा एक दिवस. सो आपला एक पंधरवडा म्हणजे त्यांचा दिवस आणि आपला दुसरा पंधरवडा म्हणजे त्यांची रात्र. द सेम थिंग फॉर द देवता प्लॅनेट. Our Dakshinayan is their night, our Uttarayan is their day. So our 6 months is their day and 6 months is their night. So 1 day is equivalent to 1 year. असे different जे gradations, different जे planetary systems आहेत तिथे calculation त्याप्रमाणे दिले. But here he is giving the highest planet in the universe, that is Satyaloka or Brahmaloka. So from their perspective, our 1000 yugas is there 1 day. 1000 Divya yugas is there 1 day. So that's what the calculation is given here. And we discussed this in the beginning. Probably you joined little bit late.
ही टाइमलाईन खूपच मोठी आहे म्हणजे.
Now this is the highest timeline, right? Because this is the life of universe.
Okay.
And what you said about the Vedic cosmology, that the sun is also rotating actually about the polar star, the axis of the universe, and then everything is rotating. And then based on where sun is, the Uttarayana and Dakshinayana is happening, and the day and nights are happening. So that whole Vedic cosmology, the placement of the different planetary systems and how day and night happens, it is all given in the Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto, Pachva Skanda. So that is very interesting topic there. Okay, so let's move on to the next verse. Avyaktadyaktayaः sarvah.
Avyaktadyaktayaः sarvah.
Avyaktadyaktayaः sarvah.
Avyaktadyaktayaः sarvah.
Prabhavantyah ragame.
Prabhavantya aragame.
Prabhavantyah ragame.
Prabhavantya aragame.
Ratyagame praliyante.
Ratriagame praliyante.
Ratyagame praliyante.
Ratriagame praliyante.
Tatraivavyakta samnake.
Tatraivavyakta samnake.
Tatraivavyakta samnake.
Tatraivavyakta samnake.
Avyaktadyaktayaः sarvah.
Avyaktadyaktayaः sarvah.
Prabhavantyah ragame.
Prabhavantyah ragame.
Ratyagame praliyante.
Ratriagame praliyante.
Tatraivavyakta samnake.
Tatraivavyakta samnake.
Couple of recitations about Kiran Prabhu. You want to recite?
Yeah. Avyaktadyaktavyah sarva.
Avyaktadyaktayaः sarvah.
Prabhavantyah ragame.
Prabhavantyah ragame.
Ratyagame praliyante.
Ratriagame praliyante.
Tatraivavyakta sanjake.
Tatraivavyakta samnake.
Thank you, Prabhu. Bapu Prabhu, you want to?
Avyaktadyaktayaः sarvah.
Avyaktadyaktayaः sarvah.
Prabhavantyah ragame.
Prabhavantyah aragame.
Ratriagame praliyante.
Ratriagame praliyante.
Tatraivavyakta samnake.
Tatraivavyakta samnake.
Thank you, Bapu Prabhu. So, word for word translation. Avyaktad means from the unmanifest, or something that is avyakta. Vyaktaya means the living entities. Sarvaha means all. Prabhavanti means become manifest. They come into existence in animate state. Ahar agame, at the beginning of the day. Ahar means day, agama means beginning. Ratri agame means at the fall of the night, when the night starts. Praliyante, they are annihilated. Tatra, into that. Eva means certainly. Avyakta means become unmanifest again, the unmanifest. And samnake means which is called. The translation. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest. They come into existence and they start working. They become manifest from the unmanifest dormant state. And thereafter, when the night falls, that is Brahmaji's night, they are merged into the unmanifest again. So here, the living entities, manifestation and unmanifestation, they come into existence and start working and burning their karma, as well as fulfilling their desires, what they had, that starts when during the day of Brahma. And when the Brahmaji's night comes, everything is quiet and then it becomes dormant. So they are just, everything has become dormant and nothing is happening. Brahmaji is also sleeping, and then all living entities just go into dormant state. And when Brahmaji's day starts, he starts creation again, and all the living entities start where they had ended in the previous day of Brahma, and then they start over their karmic reactions again. So this is just a continuation of the pralaya, what we saw, Naimittika pralaya, that is given. So any thoughts here, Prabhuji? It's pretty short here. Just like from our experience also, we see that in the beginning of the day, we get up and all activities start and everything becomes like lively everywhere. And everything is working. And at the night, sorry, so let me finish my thought. So at the night, we just sleep and everything is quiet and everything is just quiet and nothing is happening technically. So yes, Prabhuji.
नहीं sorry, मैं मतलब purport नहीं क्या याला?
Purport नहीं है. I think it is straightforward. So the Prabhupada didn't feel details to add here. There is no purport.
I didn't see that previous name.
And there are some verses where there is no purport, but that's rare. Because this is continuation of the previous verse. He has elaborated in detail in the previous verse itself. So this is just the living entities, what is happening to them during day of Brahma versus during the night of Brahma, that is given here. Do you want to continue one more? That is also actually in conjunction, so we can probably get more context. Okay, so let's do one more. Bhutagramasa evayam.
Bhutagramasa evayam.
Bhutagramasa evayam.
Bhutagramasa evayam.
Evayam.
Bhutva bhutva praliyate.
Bhutva bhutva praliyate.
Bhutva bhutva praliyate.
Bhutva bhutva praliyate.
Ratriagame vasha partha.
Ratriagame vasha partha.
Ratriagame vasha partha.
Ratriagame vasha partha.
Prabhavantya haragame.
Prabhavantya haragame.
Prabhavantya haragame.
Prabhavantya haragame.
Bhutagramasa evayam.
Bhutagramasa evayam.
Bhutva bhutva praliyate.
Bhutva bhutva praliyate.
Ratriagame vasha partha.
Ratriagame vasha partha.
Prabhavantya haragame.
Prabhavantya haragame.
We'll take one recitation. Rajesh Prabhu.
Bhutagramasa evayam.
Bhutagramasa evayam.
Bhutva bhutva praliyate.
Bhutva bhutva praliyate.
Ratriagame vasha partha.
Ratriagame vasha partha.
Prabhavatya haragame.
Prabhavatya haragame.
Thank you, Prabhu. So the word for word meaning here is Bhutagrama, means the aggregate of all the living entities. All the living entities, Bhuta. Sa means these. Eva means certainly. Ayam means this. Bhutva bhutva means again and again, repeatedly taking birth. Praliyate, they are annihilated. Pralaya bhakatansa. Ratri means of night. Agame means on the arrival. Avasha means automatically. Avasha literally means actually without their control. Avasha. Vasha means control and avasha means automatically or without they being controlling. Avasha, Partha, O son of Dharma. Prabhavanti means is manifest. Aha means of daytime. Agame means on the arrival. So this is also continuation of the same thing. So Bhutva Bhutva, again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly, avasha, helplessly annihilated again. So this cycle of being annihilation and coming into being is continuously happening. So even during day of Brahma, they are annihilated, that they have to give up this body at the time of death, and they come into being in different body. But at the time of at the end of Brahma's day, all the living entities just go into dormant state. They don't have any body or anything. They just become dormant, and they have accumulated their karmic reactions. And when the day comes, they are again created, and they continue to experience or their karmic reactions, their karma reactions. So Bhutva Bhutva Praliyate, they are again and again annihilated and given birth again. So this is, and Avasha is the key word here. They are helplessly, that they don't determine this, that this will happen. They are forced to helplessly being annihilated. So let's read the purport. Chandrakant Prabhu, you want to read the purport, short purport?
Okay. The less intelligent who try to remain within this material world may be elevated to higher planets and then again must come down to this planet Earth. During the daytime of Brahma, they can exhibit their activities on higher and lower planets within this material world. But at the coming of Brahma's night, they are all annihilated. In the day, they receive various bodies for material activities, and at night, they no longer have bodies but remain compact in the body of Vishnu. Then again, they are manifest at the arrival of Brahma's day. Bhutva Bhutva Pralayate, during the day they become manifest, and at night they are annihilated again. Ultimately, when Brahma's life is finished, they are all annihilated and remain unmanifest for millions and millions of years. And when Brahma is born again in another millennium, they are again manifest. In this way, they are captivated by the spell of the material world. But those intelligent persons who take to Krishna consciousness use the human life fully in the devotional service of the Lord, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thus, they transfer themselves even in this life to the spiritual planet of Krishna and become eternally blissful there, not being subject to such rebirths.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you. So here, Prabhupada again mentioning the same thing, that they are annihilated, they come back, and then they go to dormant state. And same thing about the Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. So all these continuously we are in a loop of karmic reactions, and because of the karma what we have done, and because of the desires we have to enjoy in this material world, we keep getting different types of births again and again. So isn't there a way to get out of this cycle of birth and death? So yes, there is, and that is available and possible only in human form of life. So in this loop, there is an exit that we can use only in human form of life. So in the human form of life, we can inquire about why I am suffering. And that's why the first aphorism of Brahma Sutra is Athato Brahma Jignasa. Atha Brahma Jignasa. Now you have gotten this human form of life. Now you should inquire about Brahman. And then the intelligent person who is really intelligent and who thinks about this, that why I exist in this material world, why I am suffering so much, even though I am aspiring for happiness. And sometimes temporarily I get happiness. But again, that happiness is followed by distress. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada. Agama natyam stam stitikshasva bharata. We read in the second chapter when Krishna says that the happiness and distress we experience through our senses is just like shitoshna, just like summers and winter season. They come and go, followed by each other. And that's why we should not get worried about those material happiness and distress. And tam titikshasva bharata. We need to learn to tolerate them. Titiksha. But while tolerating these, we should also inquire why I am in first place getting these. Why I am getting this temporary so-called happiness and ever getting this distress, and why I have to go through this birth, death, old age and disease. Why I am getting this body, why I am growing old, one day I have to die and eventually I have to get birth again. Why this is happening? When one inquires this and then one inquires how I can get out of this, and then the intelligence is given to them by Krishna, by his mercy, when one surrenders to him. So Krishna, as a Chaitya Guru, teaches us from within, and he appears as an external guru, as a spiritual master, and he teaches us from without. In that way, one who is intelligence, he uses his intelligence and he understands that Krishna is the source of everything. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate. One who is really jnani, he surrenders unto me. That's what Krishna says in the 7th chapter. Jnanavan mam prapadyate, surrenders unto me, surrenders unto Krishna. And then he understands that Vasudeva Sarvam. Krishna, Vasudev, he is everything. He is the source of everything. Sarvam iti sa mahatma sudurlabha. That's what Krishna says. That person he calls as Mahatma. That is the real Mahatma. That is the real great soul. And that type of person is very, 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 very rare. Sudurlabha. And then he engages in chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because this is important. This Mahamantra is called as Mahamantra or Great Mantra because this is the only way in the Kali Yuga particularly, given in many scriptures, in many different scriptures, this Mahamantra is called as the great mantra to get out of this Kali Yuga and get out of this material cycle of birth and death. As in Radhā-Rañjana Upanishad, actually, it is said that Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama eva kevalam kalau nasti eva, nasti eva, nasti eva gatiranyata. That, and something that is said trivar or 3 times, that means it has been given highest emphasis on that particular thing. So Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, that one must chant name of Hari. Eva Kevalam is the only way. For what? Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama eva Kevalam. Kalau, in the Kali Yuga, na asti eva, na asti eva, na asti eva. There is no other way, no other way, no other way to get Gatir Anyatha, to get Gati or to get the final destination, to get out of this. And in particularly in Kali Santarana Upanishad, that is specifically Upanishad written or described for getting free from the symptoms of Kali Yuga. Kali Yugaचे जे कल्मश आहेत, दुष्परिणाम आहेत, त्याच्यातून बाहेर पडण्यासाठी काय आहे उपाय, तर that clearly says actually, and that is the description, conversation between Brahmaji and Narad Muni, where Narad Muni asked Brahmaji that I will be traveling all around this world, including the earthly planet. So how can I protect myself and how can one get out of these symptoms of Kali Yuga? So Brahmaji tells Narad Muni that Adi Purushasya Narayanasya Namoccharana Matrena Kali Kalmansha Nirdhuta. That just by Adi Purush Narayana, Bhagavan, Adi Purush Narayana, his Namoccharana Matrena, only by taking his name, one can get freed from the Kalmasha of Kali. Nirdhuta Kali Kalmasha. And then Narada Muni asked then, Kim Nama iti? So what names are those? And then to answer this question to Narada Muni, Brahmaji answers to him, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, iti shodashakam namnam kali kalmashanashanam. Nahtah parataropaya sarva vedeshu drishyate. That this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is made up of 16 names of Lord Hari and his potency, the energy of Lord, who is very dear to him, Radhā-Rañjana, who is Hara. So this mantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, these 16 names, iti shodashakam namnam, kali kalmasha nashanam, they can help you or free you from all the kalmasha of Kali. Na atah parataropaya sarva vedeshu drishyate. And even if one reads all the Vedic literatures and searches for better upaya, then he will not find paratara upaya. There is no better upaya than this Mahamantra. And actually he further says that iti shodashanamna kalavritasya nashanam. That kala, 16, shodasha kalavritasya nashanam. So 16 kalas, kala means avarana or coverings. And jivasya avaranasya or nashanam, I don't remember the exact verses. And then it says further that it frees tada tata prakashante param brahma meghapaye ravi rashmi mandalaveti. So this Mahamantra, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, frees one from the coverings, 16 coverings in which jivasya avaranasya nashanam. So a jiva or living entity is covered in 16 different coverings, our 16 material elements in which he is covered currently, but he is freed from those 16 coverings by this Hare Krishna chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then just like tat prakashayate param brahma, and to him the param brahma is revealed, prakashante param brahma. How? Meghapaye ravi rashmi mandali veti. Just like when the mega or the clouds are dispersed and one can see the effulgence of sunlight or sun directly. So just like after the clouds are completely dispersed, one can see sun directly. In the same way, by taking out 16 coverings of a living entity, he can experience or he can see the Param Brahma directly, just by chanting these 16 names of the Lord. So we are all covered in this material world by different coverings or different avaranas. And those are like material elements, our subtle elements, our false ego or senses. Everything is covering us. And that's whole creation is called Maya or Prakriti. But to get out of this Maya or covering, only when we surrender to Krishna in this way, that can free us. As we read in the 7th chapter, 14th verse, Daivi hi esha gunamayi mama maya durattaya. Krishna says that he Daivi gunamayi maya, which is made up of 3 gunas, satogun, rajogun and tamogun, which is my maya, mama maya, is durattaya. It's very difficult to overcome. But mameva prapadyante, one whoever takes shelter of me, one whoever surrenders to me, one whoever takes sharan of me, mameva prapadyante, mayam etam tarantite. They can easily cross over this Maya. And that's why it is said that Krishna and his name are not different. And that's why this Mahamantra, Hare Krishna mantra, is non-different from Krishna himself, because he is absolute. In spiritual world, everything is absolute. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta Abhinnatvat Nama Namina. Nama Chintamani Krishna. Krishna's name is Chintamani. It is like a Paris. Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. And it is the Vigraha or form. This name is also form which enthuses energy or Chaitanya Rasa. Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta. And it is completely free from any contamination. Purna Shuddha. And it is ever liberated. Nitya Mukta. It is free from all the contamination. Abhinnatvat Nama Namina. And Nama and Nami. Nama is the name, Krishna or any name of God, and Nami is one who is possessor of the name. Abhinna, they are not different. They are the same. So when we are chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are offenselessly, then we are in actuality associating with Krishna himself. And when I say offenselessly, in Padma Puran, there are 10 offenses given, which one should avoid when chanting this mantra. But then in the beginning, we are bound to commit some offenses because we are so entangled in this material energy of Krishna. So it's okay to be chanting even offensively. There are 3 stages given of chanting this Hare Krishna mantra. One is offensive chanting or Namaparad. The second one, higher than that, is Namabhas. So slowly when we diminish or we avoid those aparad or offenses, then we start getting Namabhas. So that is the second level of chanting when we improve in our chanting or japa. And then the highest level is pure chanting or Shuddha, Shuddha japa. So Nama Parad, Nama Bhas, and Purna Shuddha Nama. So these 3 stages to get to, and when we attain that Purna Shuddha, we are actually associating with Krishna himself, who is the Supreme Lord. So that's the whole, everything here, just so we don't have to, but the living entities here, coming back to today's context again, I think I drifted a little bit to other topics to get free from this. But again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, everything comes into being. And when Brahma's night arrives, everything goes into unmanifest dormant stage. And they stay there for the whole night and they come back again to experience their karma and their sukha dukkha, what is destined for them. Again, they come back in this when Brahma's day comes. But human form of body is very, very rare, and one should utilize that for getting out of this cycle of birth and death. So I'll stop there. So thank you very much. So let's get some reflections and then we can stop. So Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Any reflections, takeaway points today?
So no reflection, Prabhuji, from me. Because it's just a continuation of the timeline, manifestation and manifestation. But again stressing the importance of the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what the most important is, being stressed again and again to different forms. So that's only the takeaway for me.
Thank
Yes,
you. That's the most
Prabhuji.
important takeaway for this whole life.
Oh, thanks for reminding it again.
Yeah, it's a reminder for all of us.
Hmm.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So